When I first started Enshrouded, I went in completely blind. Despite all the tips and tricks videos out there and posts showing the best way to start, I jumped in live on my Twitch channel and said to myself, I'm gonna figure this thing out, for better or for worse. That first day, I died 19 times. I discovered just how brutal Enshrouded could be, and I learned how forgiving it can be as well. But the big thing that happened was, I learned. It had its own not-so-subtle way of showing me what I needed to know, and it wasn't going to hold my hand through any of it. By the end of that first day, I was ready to trash that first save and start fresh with what I just learned to give myself the best possible start. And that's just what I did. On day 2, I started fresh and I tackled everything from the first day, but this time I went much further and I did it without a scratch. Since that point, I've still been learning, but this whole story is what I wish I'd known on day 1 and what I did on day 2 to make it that much better. Day 1 humbled me. Day 2, I returned the favor. That learning curve for me was rather steep, and there were a few things I wish I'd known before going in, but I'm glad I got to learn them because now I can pass them on to you. One thing I didn't realize was that I would need to be building things. Well, that's not true. I knew I'd be building, but I didn't realize how important that would be to my overall ability to progress. In my first few moments, I was set on getting to a point on the map and not at all concerned with future preparation. I blazed through the cave system. I ran all the way to the bridge, and I didn't stop to check out much at all. I didn't know how important it was to gather up everything in my path, and so I ran like a maniac. Grab stone, grab the plants, grab the corn for what it's worth, but grab everything. Your inventory has a sort option, so don't worry about having too much or it getting messy. It's fine. Also, in the cave system, your first decent weapon is hidden behind a wall, and it's pretty obvious. Yeah, I missed that too. My first run had me fighting a boss with a club, and well, remember those 19 deaths? Yeah, a solid 9 of those were right there. You're going to need a lot of stone, a lot of wood, a lot of twigs, and a lot of plant material. And being unprepared for this first part, it's just going to add more time to what you're trying to do. Remember, there is building involved here, and what you will build will be unlocking more important features that are going to help you stay alive and be much more powerful. This building phase truly is the most survival-esque portion of the game. I'd liken it to No Man's Sky, where the first 10 minutes of each new save will make or break you depending on your circumstances. In the beginning phase, it's important to prepare yourself and give yourself the best chance to fight very tough and unforgiving mobs, which are everywhere. The more you have gathered, the quicker you'll be able to get to the good part. And that's building things that help you make things that will help you kill things. And once all the things are dead, then you can find things. I think most players who are good at video games know an unalienable truth, and that is gear is God. When you have good gear and a good understanding of the mechanics of the game, you're on a death march to and from wherever you want to be, and nothing has the ability to even slow you down. How dare they even? The gall! But when you don't have either, when you don't have any good gear and find yourself in rags and have no idea what to expect, that's when you're fully enrolled in Fafo University as a freshman, and may God have mercy on your soul. This is the stage of blissful ignorance where everything is shiny and beautiful, all the while being completely terrifying and deadly. It's the stage of, ooh, is that guy a bad guy? Why is he approaching me so fast? Why is he so mad? It's that point where the only way to learn is by trying things out, and its results are usually tragic, and very often. Because of all this learning, I'm now aware that when you die, you simply leave a tombstone near where you fell, and it has all of your inventory items that were consumable. As stated earlier, I learned a lot. The reason behind the frequency of my education was that I was completely unprepared for combat. I was wearing rags, I was swinging a stick. I was a mighty warrior, but I had the tools of a humble farmer. I was plucky though, and took on major challenges with those tools, even though it was a fool's errand. I found the blacksmith, and I eventually gathered up enough scrap metal to make a scrappy sword, which helped me to become slightly more dangerous. I didn't even have shoes. But that didn't stop me from fighting a boss in an elixir well and dying way too many times. I got him though. It wasn't until day 2 that I decided to start all over and speedrun up to the point that I had gotten to the day before. It took me about 30 minutes, meaning that on day 1 I hadn't done much since I'd been running away or getting killed. The second day saw me working to upgrade my armor and weapons, especially from the blacksmith, as he has a set of armor that I toiled to get, but oh my god was it worth it. I'd also picked up that axe from the starting cave, and it was much better than my sword from the previous day. I got the glider, the grapple hook, that new armor, a great weapon, and I made a shield. I was able to defend myself, and this time, with all the extra help from my new gear, it was pretty easy. I even went toe-to-toe with that boss, and he wasn't able to scratch me. And I ended the fight in seconds. I can't begin to illustrate just how big of a difference it made to have proper gear in that moment, and the rest of the day played out similarly. I felt so much better about exploring and combat at the end of the second day, and this is when the fun really began to set in. The brutality of the game had gone from pretty serious to, oh hey, this is fun. It was at that moment of figuring out how to make the game mine that I was completely hooked. Look at the skill tree and pore over it often. I went down the warrior side, and I've almost completed that. My character is very different from a lot of other people's. I can't double jump, among a lot of other things, but I will one day. I can deal copious amounts of damage, and when I have a weapon in my hand, I'm deadly. As you kill bad guys, you'll collect in-game money called runes, and they can be used for upgrades and other fun things, but they can also be used to re-spec your character's skills. Explore the skill tree and find what works best for you. Maybe you want to go straight down one like I did. Maybe you want to take a little from all of them. Or maybe you want to multi-class and create your own full archetype. It can be very much tailored to how you want to play. My piece of advice at first is don't use your runes until you have a good idea of what you'd like to try, as it does cost runes to respec. My first day, I spent a lot of my runes on some upgrades for weapons I would never use, and then I wanted to respec. I didn't know. So, bringing it all together, gather up everything in sight, get good gear, and don't spend all your money so you can respec at any time and try a different path. I think that's actually a pretty decent TLDR, if I've ever actually heard one. Enshrouded is absolutely awesome, and it's got a lot of ways it's going to attempt to kill you, so you gotta fight back in some way. I can confirm that brute strength and perseverance does in fact pay off, but you can have a lot more fun with some good gear, a little know-how with mechanics, and tooling your skill tree to reflect what and how you play. There's going to be a lot coming from this game, and it's only in its infancy right now. Drop in the comments some kind of knowledge that you wish you would have had right from the beginning, and I'd love to be able to talk about this and compare with you. This game is insane, and it's going to be around for a long time. I'm very excited for this. Thanks so much for watching this far, and I hope you found this to be somewhat helpful. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. As always, come and chat with me while I'm live every day during the week, both here on YouTube and on Twitch, and we can talk about all things video game goodness. Thank you again, and I will see you soon.